Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Well, the new year is upon us, and that means getting to those forgotten projects that you promised you would. So whether you're tackling a small honey-do list or building the Taj Mahal, Sunbelt Rentals will help you get the job done right with the right tools. From carpet cleaners to excavators, Sunbelt Rentals has what you need. So what are you waiting for? Get it done. Rent it now from Sunbelt Rentals, located on Highway 27, just a half mile east of I-75, or visit sunbeltrentals.com. Get it done. Rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
But our flight doesn't leave for 5 hours.
Traffic could be bad, trying to find a parking spot, then the mile walk here could take a while.
From parking to boarding and everything in between, it's just better.
Gainesville Regional Airport.
Listening to AM Ocala Live on WOCA, The Source, as it is Friday to round out our show, as we do every Friday. Ocala Magazine is in the studios. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Absolutely super fantastic, as always.
That's my man right there. All right, standard answer. Welcome, guys. As we got a little bit to talk about, that's good outside the midst of the conversation that's been all week, of course, with COVID-19 and stuff like that. It's a pleasure to have you here, partner, and talk a little bit. We know. We said off air there that just a little bit that the event, in lieu of what is mentioned, may be postponed or canceled due to. But let's just talk a little bit about it nonetheless, as it is a nice distraction for something else going on to talk about.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me as well.
Absolutely, partner. Absolutely. So where do you want to begin with it? Where do you want to start? I figured I'd let you kind of roll with it.
So we had this event scheduled. It's a Anne Frank stepsister. Her name is Eva Schluss. Mm-hmm. And she is someone that has an incredible story. She's been talking about this story. She wrote a book about it. She's been in Auschwitz herself. She knew Anne Frank as a child. She spent a lot of time with her. And it's really incredible to hear the story from someone that actually knew her. And we were really looking forward to having her come. Unfortunately, because of everything that's going on with the COVID-19, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, Ocala Magazine ran an incredible story about her and did write the story and gave a lot of background as to who she is and what she did. And regardless, it's a very important read and something that's very educational and meaningful to anyone that sees what these people went through and what that means for us today in a time when anti-Semitism is becoming more viral. Mm-hmm. And it's becoming more effective throughout the world, and things that you see people writing, people saying. It's so important for everyone as a society to know the stories, what happened, and to see that it didn't just start by someone getting up and wanting to annihilate an entire nation, but it's something that begins by small things and ways how we treat each other and how we interact with one another.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And like you said, even just telling the history that, as you know, generations have moved forward to kind of bring to light some of the generations now to think just exactly what these people went through in essence. And just the quote right away, it says that the concept that all men are created equal and that everyone is created in the image of God, everyone has a meaning and purpose, and that's why. And that's what's really so important, as she quotes. And I think that's, man, that's very important when you just think about, like we said, when we talk about history, you'd hate to see the patterns of history want to kind of repeat itself. When you were saying just about the subtle things in the beginning of how you said it wasn't just all of a sudden somebody at one point saying we want an entire to eliminate an entire race, but you're saying just the way we would treat people on a day-to-day basis, and maybe some misinformation that goes along with certain people stereotyping other people and stuff like that. It's crazy. As Ben, you brought me always just a little heavier topic stuff on Fridays, but that's okay, my friend. That's okay nonetheless. as it gets the conversation going, and that's good. And it's amazing that Ocala Magazine, this great article here with it. It's incredible stuff.
And I want to thank Ben for putting that article together. He actually spoke with Eva on the phone and got a lot of information from her and put together this beautiful story. Maybe you have some more information to share on that as well.
Yeah.
Eva's story was incredible. She spent 8 months in Auschwitz, and she understood the gravitas of what had happened. I think that the more we become divorced from that era, which is now 75 years since World War II has ended, we need to remember the atrocities that were committed. And there were so many people that lost their lives because of the prejudice. And you take a look at 6 million Jews perishing. There were 20 million Russians that perished. The Romani Gypsy population was decimated. There were Catholic priests that were murdered. There were intellectuals who were murdered. There were people of different who were considered different, who had different sexual preferences. They were murdered. People who were disabled. And people need to remember that this was done by people who were evil. I mean, and that should not just be forgotten.
Right.
There are so many people nowadays who don't realize that the Holocaust occurred. And as Rabbi Heck talked about, there's a lot of anti-Semitic rhetoric that is still prevalent in our society. And it's troubling. As he had mentioned before, this is, the State of Israel was formed in 1948. And that's something that people should be aware of, that it's just not all directed towards the State of Israel. This has been going on. The Holocaust occurred before the State of Israel was formed. That's what I guess I'm trying to convey to you.
Absolutely, and that these atrocities were given that forward progress, which is absurd, but it's something that needs to be spoken about now to understand that took place, and like you said, the gravitas of that. And this is an interesting idea here too. It says, and this is the beginning of the article, that the anxiety associated with hiding, being forced to abandon one's previous life, often being stripped of one's identity in terms of a profession, and being denied the opportunity to make a living with an existing skill set, living in fear and uncertainty, and remaining circumspect in one's actions and relationships. And all of these were variables that were left long-lasting psychological trauma whose effects resonated with a lifetime with survivors of the Holocaust. So, and her being, like you said, survivor of Auschwitz. That's incredible.
It obviously is something that affected a lot of people, and it affected the survivors for many, many years to come. I know survivors here in town, one particular friend who I have, who till today will not talk about it because it's just so uncomfortable, and it just bothers it, she just breaks down every time she begins to talk about it. And we have to understand that this is not just one person, Hitler getting up and talking about this. These are local people. These were neighbors. These were friends. These were people who they knew, and then suddenly when the world turns over, they all start turning their backs on people that they knew for so many years. Yeah. And it's something that continues to play out in different ways, and there's so much to learn from. The story of Eva herself, the story that she shares is a fascinating story. But you mentioned about Anne Frank and hiding and going through the war for so many years, just not being and living the person that she wanted to be. And that, as you said, is also a very good lesson for us to learn the importance of being able to live in a free country where we could express ourselves, that people who have certain views, certain feelings, certain religious feelings, certain identity feelings, that they could be what they want to be without people judging them or telling them that they need to be in a certain way.
Absolutely. And that was originally scheduled for Thursday, March 26th, but you did say that that's that now that it will be canceled.
Well, it was scheduled to be at the Marion Technical Institute, and that is a county school, and they are saying that because the governor had requested that there should not be any public or large events, that we should cancel it. And it's unfortunate. We were hoping that this could be. Maybe it will be postponed. We're still not sure. We're trying to work out some details. But nevertheless, you can read the story in the Ocala magazine, and you can also buy Eva's book too.
Mm-hmm. And Eva's book, that's the Eva's Story?
Eva's Story, yeah. I believe it's available online too.
Gotcha. I'm sure you could probably look that up one, especially on Amazon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they have an audio book too that you can listen to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. What else, my friend? What else did you want to touch on there? Anything in lieu of her or the article itself?
Well, as I mentioned, I always like to come in and talk about some of the upcoming holidays, and we have the holiday of Passover coming up in just less than a month, and April 9th is the festival of Passover. And Passover is a time that we celebrate the Jewish freedom from the slavery in Egypt, and it's a time that really it's relevant to all people. Of course, it's one of the central stories in the Bible. Many people celebrate the holiday of Passover in many different ways. You'll probably start seeing on the shelves some Jewish foods known as matzah. Matzah is it looks like a flat cracker. You'll probably start seeing some other kosher grape juice or some other things that they sell. You'll probably see some macaroons, which is a coconut food, which is eaten because on Passover we don't eat any leavened bread or anything leavened, so no cake or bread or anything like that. But the message of Passover is that God redeemed the Jewish people from slavery and took us out of Egypt. But it's something that's really relevant today. It's not just a historical story. It's a story that each and every one of us has to learn from, the idea that we are each enslaved in our own way, in our own ideas and our own thoughts, and the way that we expect life to be. And if we see that, God takes us out of that, we have to get out of the things that are containing us, that are holding us back, that are that are not allowing us to grow, and to be liberated from that. I think that what's happening today, you can't ignore it. What's going on with this coronavirus, it's putting people in a position that, where they expect life to be in a certain way, and then suddenly life changes. And this is, in a way, we have to learn from that and see that, no, there's really something beyond what we expect life from day to day to be, and just the things that we do regularly. There is really so much more, and we have to dig deeper to try and grow out of that. And that is really what Passover is about. It's about an internal freedom. It's about seeing ourselves for who we really are. It's for identifying with our internal soul, allowing ourselves to live a true life, not something that people are telling us to live, not living the life that the media is telling us to live, or sure, that our friends are expecting of us, but to truly be an internally free individual. It's a very, very powerful message, what Passover is, and it's a universal message for everyone, even though it's a story of the Jewish people, but it's something that we all can learn from.
Yeah, absolutely. Well put. And like you said, what a time than any to look beyond just what's in our face with social media, what's like you said, within the media in general, and maybe what some people expect you to do, or what is just out there. And what you said is, I think, a good point is, what's the quote? Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, and taking into consideration that can happen, and being able to, so to speak, find a meditation or a peace with that, and look for a positive, and try to move forward around that. And then, like you said, if that's the way in which you can find that meditation with God, or something else that's maybe something bigger than yourself, then that's the point. Yeah.
That's right. And if people want to attend a Seder for Passover, you could go to our website, archabad.org/Passover 2020, or archabad.org/Passover, and you'll find out more information about the holiday Passover, about the holiday of Passover that's coming up.
Excellent. I was going to look up here. In lieu of those interested in the book of Ava's story, as it is for sale there on Amazon, and this is well put too for the theme of the book. As many of you know, the tragic story of Anne Frank, the teen whose life ended at Auschwitz during the Holocaust, but most people don't know about Ava. And how do you say her last name? Schloss.
Schloss, yeah.
Ava Schloss, Anne's playmate and stepsister. And though Ava, like Anne, was taken to Auschwitz at the age of 15, her story did not end there, as these incredible memoirs recount, without bitterness or hatred, the horrors of war. And they say here, with the idea of the love between mother and daughter, and the strength and determination that has helped the family overcome that danger and that tragedy. So, yeah, if you're interested, Ava's story, A Survivor's Tale by the stepsister of Anne Frank, and that's who you guys had here for the article, which is just incredible stuff, and it's also great, just the type of stuff you guys have at Ocala Magazine to put forward here within the community and stuff like that. That's great stuff, Ben.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else you guys want to touch on in lieu of? I figured we talked a lot about off air about maybe some other lighthearted stuff. You mentioned baseball there,
Absolutely,
Ben.
Yeah. And there's such a great Jewish presence and history with the game of baseball. Everybody from Mo Berg, who was also a spy during World War II, and people aren't aware of that. And we were talking about Hank Greenberg and Sandy Koufax, who obviously are the two most well-known Jewish baseball players, obviously Hall of Famers, but so many great players over the years. Al Rosen, Sid Gordon. You look at the '69 Mets, and you had Art Shamsky and Ed Kranepool and Mike Epstein and Kenny Holtzman and Ron Bloomberg, and obviously later on Sean Green, Ian Kinsler, Jason Marquis, Brett Ausmus, Gabe Kapler, Sam Fold, Mike Lieberthal. It goes on and on and on. And Ryan Braun, the Milwaukee Brewers now.
And this is without Wikipedia.
And so it's kind of
this is baseball, baby. That's the beautiful part about it.
It's to see that type of presence and. So many great athletes. Everybody and people don't realize Mark Spitz. Before Michael Phelps, greatest swimmer in the history of the Olympic Games. He's Jewish.
Yeah.
So that's winning 7 gold medals in 1972.
That's right.
Just an incredible athlete, quite often overlooked, and it's those kind of things that I think need to be brought out because it impacts our lives in so many different ways, and sports is such a wonderful diversion. And now that we've got the coronavirus, they've taken our diversion away from us. So
that means we need to. That's when we reflect on the history, just like we are now, and talk about old statistics and stuff, and resonate with that. But excellent, gentlemen. As we're coming to the top of the 11 o'clock hour, great stuff that you guys do with Ocala Magazine, and an excellent partner for having you in to talk in lieu of her story, Ava's story, in lieu of the stepsister of Anne Frank. For those interested in the book, again, on Amazon, Ava's Story, A Survivor's Tale by the Stepsister of Anne Frank. You can purchase it there. And I believe there was a website for it as well. Did you know?
AnneFrankOcala.com.
Okay, that's right, at AnneFrankOcala.com. And for more information, too, in lieu of what we were talking about with Marion Technical Institute to have her in Thursday, March 26th. For more information, you can call yourselves at 352-330-4466 to answer any questions that anybody had about postponement or cancellations that they thought when they were looking forward to going. So that's right there. Gentlemen, thank you very much. As we're closing out the show here, we made it to Friday. We made it to Friday, to say the least. It happens to be Friday the 13th. For some people, that's a lucky number. For others, it's very pessimistic. I was asked today, well, was it lucky for me or is it pessimistic? And I said, well, I wore that when I played baseball. 13.
There you go, Carl Crawford.
Omar Vizquel, just recently as Drew Cabrera. Now, nonetheless, as we look forward to the weekend, though, we got beautiful weather coming up. Just a shout out there, too, that the Master Gardeners Spring Festival was canceled or postponed to the point of when we find out more information about that, but it will not be going on this weekend. And the idea, too, as we leave you this week, as we go into the weekend with beautiful weather and some optimism, of course, just remember to the idea of the common sense of COVID-19, just to take care, wash your hands, and cover your mouth when you cough. If you feel sick, stay home, and try to find out as much positive, factual information as you can. And until next week, this is Adam signing off after a tough weekend it was, but I thank you for sharing that. Thank you for listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, The Source. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump on Twitter again calls for a payroll tax cut and another interest rate cut to stimulate the economy during this coronavirus outbreak. Top House Democrats have been meeting this morning about a financial relief bill.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters last night a deal is in sight.
Subject to the exchange of paper and hope to have an agreement.
Democrats want free testing for all Americans and paid sick leave for hourly workers. Republicans agree on sick leave, but they want sunset provisions and exemptions for certain businesses.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine tells Fox in his state,
we project we have about 100,000 people at least who already are walking around with the coronavirus.
Dr. Anthony Fauci with the National Institutes of Health.
Having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
The largest aerospace expo in the South, Sun and Fun, returns to the skies of Lakeland March 31st through April 5th. It's not just an air show, it's everything aviation in 2020. Walk among hundreds of aircraft and be amazed at air shows with breathtaking aerobatic displays by the world's top pilots. See mighty warbirds in flight, from vintage bombers to modern fighter jets, and feel the heat of a 1,000-foot wall of fire. Plus, new for 2020, our STEM-tastic pavilion with dozens of interactive activities for all ages. Oh, and let's not forget the precision flying of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Take advantage of the Florida Resident Weekend Special, Saturday, April 4th and Sunday, April 5th, and get 3 shows for the price of 1. Come Saturday, stay for the night air show with its amazing Star Dance Spectacular Drone Light Show, aerobatic flyers, plus a fireworks display. Then return Sunday for an additional show for free. Children under 10 are free, so make plans to bring the whole family and experience the past, present, and future of aviation at the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. Visit us at flysnf.org.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Conservative Watch Hour with Annie Marie Delgado and my co-host, Ann Vandersteel from Steel Truth. Ann, how are you this morning, my dear?
Annie, happy MAGA Friday to you. I could not be better if you tried. It's a gorgeous day here in South Florida, and yours truly is now fully recovered from the nasty flu, not that virus, that she got last week. But I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great, and it's a beautiful Friday. The president is in control, and we are happy to be here supporting him.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you're feeling better, and or you're over that and past that.
Right on.
It is an absolutely MAGA beautiful Friday, Friday the 13th, which happens to be my lucky day.
Love that. Love that. I love a woman who puts Friday the 13th in the win column. That's awesome. That is awesome. So what kind of winning do we have going on these days, Annie? Let's talk about some of the winning, shall we? Should we talk about those jobless claims numbers that were buried yesterday in the headlines that never got out? We actually had 4,000 less jobless claims reported, bringing us to record low jobless claims numbers, 211,000. We haven't seen those numbers since February of 2016. We are absolutely killing it out there right now.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I mean, when we look at last month, 273,000 jobs created in February, which is 100,000 over what they were projecting for us. And it's just a wonderful thing to be able to see. So sorry, we've got some background noise here. I'm going to try to see if I can do something about correcting that. But in the meantime, we do indeed have much to be grateful for, is the word that comes to my mind.
That's right.
The Lord. We praise the Lord each and every day. We're grateful for all the winnings. And certainly, I'm going to see if I can.
I think we've got some radio station background noise or something going on. I'm not sure if the audience can hear it or not. I just don't know if they forgot to cut the mic, or maybe we're the only ones who can hear it. I'm not really sure. But, Annie, one of the things I think we need to talk about is some of the work that this administration has been doing very quietly behind the scenes. And, when there's investigations going on and you're looking at bringing down bad guys, the last thing you want to do is send up flares and put out signs and go on the television and tell everybody you're coming for them. I mean, this is not the Obama administration that says, hey, bad guys, we're going to be bombing in a neighborhood near you. No, and that's not what we do.
And they drop leaflets.
But, I mean, our own DOJ, our own Department of Justice, remember the people that have been weaponized and corrupted and used against us? Like, they never brought anybody to task under the Obama administration. Criminals are still roaming the earth thanks to the corrupt DOJ, former DOJ. But what we're seeing now is recently we had a DEA, Department of Drug Enforcement Agency, led operation that netted more than 600 arrests targeting the cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion, which is a Mexican cartel, and it was under Project Python, a DEA-led interagency. Now, this means multiple agencies. They were able to keep a lid on that and arrest over 600 people right here in the United States. That was a sick.
In this nation, and then they start screaming, well, now you're doing too much. Yeah. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
You know, they just can't have it either way, Annie. If they don't get, you know, if we provide to them what they want. Remember DACA? The president gave them twice as many DACA recipients as they were asking for, and they said no, right? I mean, and then...
That's another perfect example.
Remember Trump? Remember when President Trump floated the idea? He just casually mentioned red flag laws. Maybe we should revisit it. Schumer ran into the mic. He practically tripped over his shoelaces getting there. No! It's like, well, wait a minute. You guys were for these things. Now you're against them. I mean, let me know what day it is. Is the sky blue? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, as I always say, that's right out of the Saul Alinsky playbook. I mean,
that's right.
These are their tactics. That continue. I mean, look at the bill. So the president puts in a request for $2.5 billion to deal with this coronavirus to protect the American citizens. The Democrats say, oh, well, no, we want to put $8 billion in there. And he's like, well, geez, that's wonderful. However, now that we look and know what the additional $6 billion that the Democrats have put in there, one of the first things they put in there, this is called pork. They attached it to the coronavirus bill, where all taxpayers will permanently have to pay for abortions. Oh, my God.
Right.
What in the world does that have to do with coronavirus? But this is the tactics that they utilize.
That's exactly right. Wasn't this, I mean, Nancy Pelosi seemed really desperate to get this done, and she wanted to skedaddle out of town. You know, now that the president has, you know, the Congress has declared the Capitol is closed to the public, and some of our members of the Congress are now self-quarantining. You know, Nancy Pelosi putting a lot of pressure on this. It really reminds me of Obamacare. Remember, you got to pass it to see what's inside of it. I mean, you know what? I think American people, once bitten, twice shy. You know, fool me once, shame on me. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I think this really falls into the category of fool me twice, shame on us. The American people are not going to have any of this. Because if we really are in fear of our lives with the coronavirus, then why wouldn't we just want to know exactly how that $8 billion is going to be spent? I mean, after all, the president's ready to sign on, right? So why are we making this so secretive? What's the big deal? Oh, you want to kill some more babies. I guess you guys haven't done aborting yourselves out of existence here. Do they not understand they're eliminating their own party by doing this? They're killing future Democrat voters. These people are insane.
Well, you know, that's a good word that comes to mind, because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. And they continue to do the same thing over and over, and then they complain about why some of their bills just happen to stall in the Senate. They're sitting there because it's insanity. They keep trying to push the same things over and over on the American taxpayer and the public, which they've clearly identified they do not want. They do not want.
No.
So it continues. But and there's so many examples that we can give herein right now. You know, everything from the, you know, if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. How'd that work out?
Yeah, right. Because my insurance premium skyrocketed, necessarily so under the Obamacare. It was. I mean, I had I have a Cadillac insurance plan. And I still, fortunately, have that package, and it's been a blessing. I picked that up in 2004, And thank goodness I did. And it went up significantly under Obamacare and under the Obama administration. That being said, however, I have a grandfather package. I'm blessed. But many people, like my husband and others who were on corporate insurance and then went off and had to get their own, they're paying twice as much or 2.5 times as much as I am because of Obamacare. It's the insanity of it all.
Exactly. Like my sweetie, I mean, you know, talk about if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. No, that wasn't the case. And he had triple bypass open heart surgery, has diabetes, and we go on. And every single one of his doctors, we had to find new doctors. And so we had to expedite a tremendous amount of money to buy a new plan that would include his doctors, which, of course, you know, when you go through things like that, you have a comfort level with your doctor. You want to keep the doctor. So we had to pay 3 times the amount of money in order to be able to retain his doctors. And the deductibles went skyrocketed. Some people were seeing $6,000-$7,000 deductibles before. Well, what's the sense of that? You know, if you break your foot or whatever, let's just say, hypothetically, something that's not as traumatic as, let's say, a heart attack or something, still, you have to pay for all that out of pocket until you reach $7,000. Well, that's right. That's a lot of foot breaking and finger toe breaking or whatever it might be.
That's exactly right.
So what's the sense of paying all that money for a plan that doesn't even cover you until you get to $7,000 or some people $6,000, whatever the number may be? But you get my drift. And to what a disaster that was. In addition to, we can go on, as I said, with, you know, the DACA situation, the deportation, okay. And then they gripe about, you know, people being deported. Excuse me, Obama deported the highest amount of people of all presidents combined from this nation.
That's right.
But yet, he also allowed in the highest amount by the thousands and thousands. Minnesota, a perfect example. 80,000 refugees from in that Minnesota district.
Minnesota, from Somalia.
Somalia, there you go.
Somalia, yep.
I had a brain moment there.
It's all right. It's Friday, and the fire hose of news has been unreal. I know it, Annie. It doesn't stop. I mean, we were talking earlier on a previous radio show on Conservative Watch Hour. We were talking about just looking at the headlines, right? Right now, of course, coronavirus is dominating the headlines everywhere. Mm-hmm. And while the mainstream media never lets a good crisis go to waste, I argue that neither does our president. In fact, you know, when you consider that they are shutting down sporting events around the world, they're shutting down mass gatherings around the world. The CNN reported Disneyland was shut down, except inexplainably, this is hilarious, inexplainably, you've got Gavin Newsom leaving Disneyland open, saying it's, you know, for special circumstances that are complex in nature, blah, blah, blah. They're going to leave Disneyland open. Why? Well, we know it's because they're a big donor to the Democrat Party. But I digress. So when you look at this virus and you look at the fact that things are shutting down around the world, major news-making events are being shut down, it really kind of quiets the news cycle, doesn't it? And it allows the real news to now percolate. It allows President Trump's Twitter feed, which we know is the real news, to get a lot more attention because there's nothing else making news out there besides the fact that Corona is quieting everything down. So we sort of have, you know, we've got kind of a captive audience now. We have major travel restrictions in place. Again, applause to President Trump for shutting the doors to China long before, and he was taking incoming fire from the left for being called a xenophobe for doing that. But now we know how prudent that was. He shut down travel to Europe, but left it open with the UK. That's interesting. There's quarantines going on everywhere. But people's ability to move around the country and around the globe has now been significantly reduced, which means you're not having to look through a bunch of needles in a haystack to find that one needle in the haystack you're looking for. So if you're looking for somebody who's running, a bad guy perhaps, someone trying to evade the law, there's a lot less people you have to look through traveling to find that one person you might be looking for, or 10 or 100, whoever it is. So things are starting to become more clear. We know that our law enforcement is on the ready. We've seen the National Guard and other military agencies are all standing. They've all been out tweeting that they're standing ready. You know, these are kind of interesting times we're living in. China, Iran, and Italy have all seen mass casualties in this coronavirus. But these are also countries that we know were complicit. I mean, China and Iran, we know, have been working together against this country for years, and Italy was neck deep in the whole Spygate stuff. So you look at that, you look at some of the famous people like the Hankses, Rita and Tom Hanks, who dipped out to Australia and now supposedly have the coronavirus. I mean,
I'm not so sure about what's going on with them.
Right. I'm not either. Just saying. I mean, there's just a lot going on. We had mass arrests in Saudi Arabia. We had this big cartel roundup, and we know that the cartel, as reported by numerous people I've covered on this Fast and Furious scandal, that have been inside and know what it's like to be on the other side of the transaction. And when I say that, they were with Democrats. They were big financial supporters for the Janet Napolitanos, the Barack Obamas, the Hillary Clintons, the Bill Clintons. They know the cartel is the muscle for the left political machine here in the country. You just rounded up 600 of those guys. And now President Trump's out there tweeting, "We the people are the cure," and we're seeing, antiviral drugs that are going to be available this summer that are showing a lot of promise in combating coronavirus. They're being tested on those poor people up in Washington right now. We're seeing other people coming out, other companies coming out with potential vaccines for this virus. Yet the flu has killed far more people to date, and under the same time frame. So it's a very interesting times. I think people need to take a pause and just look at the whole picture.
Absolutely, but that brings me to a point, because we are broadcasting out of my hometown, Ocala, Marion County, Florida.
Yay!
Yay is right, because right here in little Ocala, we have a company that is testing right now a possible coronavirus treatment right here. And this company, they have worked on the SARS virus before, and what they have found is that the genetic makeup of it, and it actually exactly like the coronavirus. So they're now rapidly moving forward with taking that treatment and utilizing it for the coronavirus treatment. So I do believe that, and kudos to this beautiful company right in my hometown here in Ocala that has been able to work, and they are working with China. They are working with the U.S. government, of course, but, they have Japan doctors that have, they first started it. And so this is going to go by the wayside eventually, but I applaud the president for what he's doing and taking precaution to be able to send the message to the American public that, listen, we want to be vigilant, we want to wash their hands all the time. We want to do the right things. We don't want people that potentially, because when people sneeze, any human being, it comes out of you at 100 miles an hour.
Lovely.
100 miles an hour, it comes out of you, and it goes 8 to 10 feet or more. People are thinking it's only 6 feet. No, it's at least 8 to 10 feet or more. And when those droplings drop, they stick and they stay. And now the one thing that we have learned is, with this particular virus, it lives for days, whether it's on metal or your counter top, whatever it may be. So that's why his message is so compelling to be responsible, cover yourself when you sneeze, and all the different other advice that he has given and shown. But it makes sense because he leads by example, like Trump Team 2020 Florida, which, of course, is our wonderful organization. And we have chapters all around the state of Florida. And we have monthly events every month in all the different counties around the state of Florida. Well, the governor of Florida, our wonderful, very own Ron DeSantis, which is doing an incredible job, and we give him kudos and praise, he's as well put out, if it's over 250 people, that there are different events that are being canceled. I've spoken to many, many of my friends from many different organizations. Well, Trump Team 2020 Florida is also following suit by protecting our folks right here in Marion County and in the villages where we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And we will follow suit by resuming our meetings once we get past this. And there's another thing that gets very, very little bit of talk about. These viruses are known. Once it gets to 86 degrees, they don't live. They can't. They don't copy themselves. They don't mutate. They don't do any of that. So for us here on the South, we're going to get to those temperatures. We're already in the 80s.
Thank God.
Okay, we're already in the 80s, but we have some of the folks where up north, they won't reach those temperatures till the June, July type time frame. So this is why we must take precautions to be responsible and be careful. And if you don't, unless it's absolutely necessary to fly or get on a confined area like a train, a bus, or what have you. But when you're talking about metropolitan cities that have the connectivity of bus and train and things like that, that's their only source of travel for them to be able to get around. So you have to just be cautious and do take the proper precautions to also, and I don't care what I look like. Somebody was just making fun of me, a friend of mine, that I went to Publix and I had my gloves on, the whole bit. Well, Publix and all these other stores, outside of the fact that they're out of toilet paper, they're also out of the wipes to your cart, your shopping cart. Do you realize the tremendous amount, not even thinking about coronavirus, of germs that are on those carts?
That's why they have the wipes at the grocery store. I always use them I always use those wipes. I mean, I keep hand sanitizer in my purse. I mean, this is just prudent stuff here, people. This is not revolutionary. Annie and I are not giving you stuff you've never known or heard before. When it comes to how to protect yourself in cold and flu season, it's pretty basic. Again, not trying to dismiss the seriousness of flu and coronavirus, but this is. The amount of attention it's getting, I think, is really actually probably a very good public health service, because people do get lackadaisical. And like I said, yours truly hasn't had the flu in 12 years. And, man, did I get walloped after, traveling to D.C. a couple of weeks ago and came down with a good old-fashioned case of flu, and it knocked me out. Annie, I could barely talk for 10 days. And look at me now. You can't shut me up.
I can't shut you up. Well, I'll tell you what. Our entire Trump King prayer line, we pray for you each and every day. We still do. We pray for you every day, my dear friend.
Love you for that.
Oh, and I love you because God loves us, and God's watching all of this. And we pray for this to just go back to the pits of hell where it came from. And
that's right.
We know the pit of hell. It's Satan and his children that actually man-made this. So for me, I know I get a little bit... how should I say? I could find myself preaching sometimes. I'm not a preacher at all, but I do know and love my God. And I know God has got this and will continue to have it. But that being said, when we look at some of the areas of where this is happening, and look at Iran. Look at Iran, the amount of people that in their parliament have tremendous. China, of course, where the witchcraft, I call it, of mixing the virus and making it,
right,
and it went out of control on them. But let's not forget that young 24-year-old beautiful scientist, doctor, that blew the whistle on them, and all of a sudden he died from it. Really? Really?
Annie, the amount of whistle...
Sounds like one of those whistleblowers that
yes, it does.
Attached to where they committed suicide, really, by shooting themselves in the back of the head.
That's right.
In the back. Yeah.
It's interesting. This the recent death of whistleblowers is something that just kind of got swept up under the media rug. Phil Haney, who was one of the original founders of the Department of Homeland Security with Janet Napolitano. Now, Janet Napolitano is up to her neck in alligators with respect to the Operation Fast and Furious, working with cartels and, part of the whole weapons and drug smuggling operation that was going north and south across the border during the Barack Obama administration. And one of the whistleblowers that I have spoken to many times and very regularly, Jeffrey Peterson, was debriefed by people inside our own intelligence community who validated everything he's ever reported with me, which is fantastic. But it's also scary in the same sense of the fact that this is what our government was doing. They were actually facilitating these transactions of weapons and drugs and using a network that they've created to traffic all the stuff, including people. Janet Napolitano.
Unbelievable. And I'll tell you, we're coming up on a break, my dear.
Oh, I'll finish this after the break.
Yeah. And I have to try and figure this out right now. But, you know, the one most important thing that we want to announce is that you're here with the Conservative Watch Hour every Friday at 11 o'clock. And
it's WOCA 96.3 and 1370 AM.
No garden show this weekend? Not to worry. There's a garden show every day at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala, including this Sunday from 10 to 2. A super selection of citrus with trees starting as low as $59.99, and you get a free bag of fertilizer. Mix or match geraniums regularly $2.99. You get 10 for $19.99. Many hanging baskets, you buy one, you get one at half price. And BOGOs wherever you look. So don't hunker down. Come on down to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala during the height of the Camellia Show Spectacular. Open every day till 4:30 and this Sunday from 10 to 2. Bob Wine's on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump on Twitter again calls for a payroll tax cut and another interest rate cut to stimulate the economy during this coronavirus outbreak. Top House Democrats have been meeting this morning about a financial relief bill.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi told reporters last night a deal is in sight.
Subject to the exchange of paper and hope to have an agreement.
Democrats want free testing for all Americans and paid sick leave for hourly workers. Republicans agree on sick leave, but they want sunset provisions and exemptions for certain businesses.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in D.C. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine tells Fox in his state,
we project we have about 100,000 people at least who already are walking around with the coronavirus.
Dr. Anthony Fauci with the National Institutes of Health says he expects widespread sped-up testing in place within a few days to a week. The Masters Golf Tournament and Boston Marathon, the latest sporting events to be postponed, they're supposed to be next month. America's listening to Fox News.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
Well, here we are back at Conservative Watch Hour. My name's Annie Marie Delgado with my co-host Ann Vandersteel of SteelTruth.com. And Ann, you know, we continue on. And
we do. We continue on.
Right in the middle of what you were saying, but you know, we need to pay for this, and so we have to have commercial breaks.
Oh, I know. No, it's all good. Listen, we can't do any of this without. It's a team effort, right? And we've got some incredible supporters out there that are helping fund and make this possible so that we can get the word out. It's a team effort. There's no way we do this without them. No way. So we're grateful.
Absolutely. And with that being said, you know, if you would like to be part of our program and help support our program to continue on, please reach out to me, Annie Marie Delgado. You can call us at WOCA right here in Ocala. You can reach me at 561-779-3535 and join us and keeping this conservative talk radio show, which, I'd like to give a big kudos out to what I call my fearless leader, which is Rush Limbaugh. We pray for him daily. We wish him well. He has shown all of us the path and the way to go, and it's just been amazing. And Rush is just an incredible man doing an incredible job, and so we continue to keep him lifted up in prayer.
Yes,
so
we do.
With that being said, Ann, let's get back into our wonderful conversation.
Yeah, so we were talking about, whistleblowers that have, gone dead recently. And, obviously that wonderful doctor who was blowing the whistle on the coronavirus ended up supposedly dying of the coronavirus. A perfectly healthy young guy. So that's, of course, suspicious in of itself. But what I was talking about was right here in this country, when the impeachment hearings were going on in Congress, one of the news cycles that made its way back into the mouths of the babes sitting in Congress was Fast and Furious, the botched gun running scandal under the Obama Holder administration. Remember that? And Eric Holder, the Attorney General, held in contempt of court, and then those files are sealed, and we still don't have all the goods. However, yours truly with Steel Truth been covering this, and I have a lot of victims and whistleblowers that have come forward, of which one of them, Jeffrey Peterson, who was vetted by the intelligence community recently as having real information, stuff he's reported on my show, and you can find all of this under Fast and Furious under steeltruth.com. Jeffrey Peterson talked about one of his relationships when he was a Democrat, and he was a big financial supporter to the Democrat Party. He had a company called KPASA. It was a Latin social media company with 50 million users. Mm-hmm. And he sold it for a lot of money to Rick Scott before Rick Scott actually became the governor of Florida. He invested in the company and made it his own social media platform. But when he became very wealthy at a young age, he decided to support the Democrats because he thought they felt good and he thought he could identify with their ideology. He became friends with Janet Napolitano and the Clintons, and he supported Obama, and he was running around with people like Marco Lopez, who is now chief of staff for the Salinas family, the former president of Mexico, corrupt president.
Absolutely.
But Annie, Kevin Spidell was a gentleman that worked with Jeffrey back in the day, and Jeffrey got out one day. He decided to walk away from all of this and leave it all behind when he heard a phone call with Marco Lopez, and Emiliano Salinas, the son of former president of Mexico, Carlos Salinas. And he heard Emiliano talking about that sex cult, NXIVM, which made headlines about 8 months ago, and a lot of people were arrested and indicted, and there's still more coming out about the sex trafficking and horrific things they did there. But it's so interesting. It's so sick on so many levels. But when he left, Kevin Spidell maintained contact with Jeffrey, and Kevin kept lamenting, Jeffrey, you're so lucky you walked away. I'm so glad you're out of the country and you're safe. Well, Jeffrey spoke to Kevin back in December, just a few short months ago, and Kevin was panicked. You remember that's right? Kevin was panicked about the corrupt activities under former DHS Secretary / Arizona Governor Janet Napolitano. And he reminded Jeffrey, they both previously worked with all those individuals. Then 2 weeks later, Kevin turns up dead. The intelligence community who interviewed Jeffrey Peterson about all of this information that he's reported on my show and validated him, contacted Jeffrey and said, hey, by the way, Jeffrey, your buddy who died, it wasn't a suicide. He was poisoned. Then in the same week, we had Phil Haney. He was one of the original people to get the Department of Homeland Security stood up under Janet Napolitano. He was the one blowing the whistle on the Muslim Brotherhood infiltrating our entire government, and how the former administration and James Comey said you have to get rid of any reference to the Muslim Brotherhood or radical Islam or jihad or anything. All of his notes and investigations, 800 files, had to be deleted. That man, Phil Haney, had identified correctly the Orlando nightclub shooter and the San Bernardino shooter as people to be seriously on the watch list, because they came out of the same mosque that we have here in Fort Pierce, the same mosque where the Saudi Arabian 9/11 flyers came out of, pilots came out of. This was real stuff that got flushed because the previous administration wanted it flushed. And Phil Haney, who was blowing the whistle, turns up dead. In fact, Annie, he was supposed to be speaking on Tuesday at the Vero Beach Republican Executive Committee, where I ended up speaking in his place. This is real stuff that's going on, and one of my other whistleblowers from Fast and Furious.
Current, so that people understand. And this is currently happening. It's not like this old news going back to the Obama administration when it all started. This is happening currently, right now.
Exactly. And sadly to say, Phil Haney, who is a very brave man, was encouraged by another one of my whistleblowers, John Galetta, former federal air marshal, credit card administrator. In other words, he administered the credit cards for every single air marshal that flew in defense of our country and defending our airlines, okay?
That's right.
He uncovered a massive bank fraud scandal through J.P. Morgan Chase. Again, also reported on my show, Steel Truth, under the Fast and Furious section. You can watch this interview. It's mind-blowing. And he was the one who encouraged Phil to actually go out and become a whistleblower. And so John is like, oh, my God, he feels horrible about it. He's broken up about the whole thing. So here you have people that are blowing the whistle about the same key people. And Napolitano's name keeps coming back up. Dennis Burke, who was also an attorney general for the state of Arizona and friends with Jeffrey Peterson, the whistleblower. These are all the same people. By the way, Dennis Burke became the attorney for Claire Bronfman, who was embroiled in the Nexium scandal when that whole trial went down in New York, where Keith Raniere, the head of the whole organization, and Nancy Salzman and Claire Bronfman, they all got indicted for trafficking and more with respect to Nexium.
That's why it's important to connect the dots, Ann. That's why it's important to connect the dots.
That's right.
And the work that you've been doing, that we've been doing, and many others. But the sad part about it is how many of them are coming up dead.
Yes.
Unexplained. How can you possibly commit suicide by shooting yourself in the back? Okay.
I'm not laughing at it, but it's so ridiculous. How stupid do they think we are is the question. How stupid do they think we are?
Exactly. Well, that's why we do what we do. We bring these points out to the public, to the listening audience, because very many people that I speak to, they certainly do not even want to watch television anymore. There's so much, and I feel so bad. So many people call me and they're like, Annie, we can't take this anymore. We want to help you in any way we can, but this politics, this is so dirty, this is so bad. And the things that happen, even locally right here in Marion County, I'm not going to mention her name. I just had a call from a woman who was in tears on the phone. She's a beautiful soul of a person, but she was brutally attacked by these fake posing as Republicans, and they're not. If you look at their history, these people are using all the tactics right out of the handbook of Saul Alinsky tactics, right down to local government. So these frauds and these people are everywhere.
That's
so
right.
We have to expose them. We have to expose them and take action, because we're in times right now. It is vitally important. If we are going to win, especially right here in the state of Florida, if we're going to win, we need to make sure that we drain our own swamp. These are not Republicans. These are deep state swamp infiltrators.
That's right.
Because if you're going around, and believe me, my heart still breaks for this woman to have someone on the phone like this and this conversation. And I know her personally, crying of what they did to her. This happens all the time. Now, she's still alive, thank God. But we have many that we have lost. And these people just happen. One of our colleagues from Wisconsin and a colleague of mine from Texas, we were working on a project. 42 years old.
Mm-hmm.
3 beautiful children. They found her dead, shot to death in her car.
Wow.
This is real. And we're mourning her death, and we will do that for quite some time, because people often ask me, and I know they ask you as well, are you afraid? Aren't you afraid?
Oh, yeah. No.
You get
I get that question all the time. I've done some. Recently, I've been traveling the States speaking at various Trump organizations and Trump clubs. And, I tell the story of Fast and Furious, and I paint the picture how it's layered into so many other ongoing investigations like Benghazi, and how Project Cassandra was interrupted by the Obama administration because they wanted to get a deal done with Iran, and they just stopped the entire operation they had that was going to bring down drug kingpins and czars and Hezbollah and the Mexican cartels around the world. I mean, we're talking a massive enterprise here of moving drugs and weapons and people. And they stopped because Obama's like, no, I don't want to upset the Iranians and Hezbollah. You've got to be kidding me. You're kowtowing to a terror organization because you want to send pallets of cash to your friends in Iran. Give me a break. But I got to tell you, the people that have, been listening to this go, Ann, aren't you afraid aren't you afraid for your life? And I said, no, because I'm very vocal. I'm very out there. And more importantly, God has got this now. I feel very confident that, the light is now being shined and these cockroaches are looking for dark corners and there's none left to be found. They're out in the open. We are sanitizing the globe of these people. It's not just our country, Annie. This is a global awakening, and the people are fed up. They want their freedom back, and they're looking to America, and they're seeing how great it is here, and they're like, wait a minute, this guy gets in? Oh, that supposed orange man bad? Let me rethink this, because what I see happening over there makes us look like we're going into the Stone Age on our side of the pond. And they want their freedom. They want what we have. That's why we're so popular and always have been.
That's why they're following the footsteps of our president. And
amen.
By making their people first as well.
Amen.
Trump this is a president that loves the country and loves its people and is putting Americans first. Now all these other nations are following suit saying, you know what, he's right. And he was right from the very beginning when he campaigned on it and said NATO's been ripping us off, all these nations ripping it. Why? And he brought that to a complete halt. And now they're stepping up to the plate and say, you know what, President Trump is right. And they're starting to protect their people now more so than ever when they see that. But, I mean, look at Italy. Oh, my God, how sad.
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. All right, can we shift a little bit to some good news here and how the administration is using coronavirus to help Americans? Here we go. Headline on Breitbart. I love this. Secretary Mnuchin is floating the pause on student loan payments. So Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said the Trump administration could provide temporary student loan suspensions to help Americans amid the coronavirus outbreak. Now, speaking as a mom of a college-age student, my daughter is attending a school here in Florida, aeronautical engineering degree, smart little cookie. Wish I had half the brains in her pinky. But, these kids, she was an out-of-state student before she transferred to Florida, and it was a fortune. And so we've got student loans. Let me tell you something. I co-wrote those, co-signed those loans. I'd love to take a pause in making those payments because it's a big nut every month. I chose not to postpone it and, push it out till she graduates. I wanted to start paying it now so she wasn't going to be burdened. But when I see stuff like this, I'm thinking to myself, if it wasn't for the Obama administration federalizing the student loan debt, those costs of education would never have skyrocketed the way they have. They've gone crazy. And they can charge these exorbitant out-of-state tuition expenses because the federal government will write loans for it. And let's look at the default rate on those student loans. It's sky high. And again, who's picking up the tab on that? The American taxpayer. So, if we, are the smart person, our kids get good grades and they have completely funded through college, through scholarships and whatever, and grants, and don't have loans, they're still paying for loans because we're picking up all the deadbeat loans out there. And the fact that Mnuchin is floating this idea, it does a couple things. One, it proves that these colleges are going to have to learn how to manage their budgets better because there's no reason for an out-of-state tuition to cost more than in-state, number one. You're getting the same education. And number two, by forcing these kids to go online to learn, like my daughter is now extended 2 more weeks for spring break because she's going to do all her classes online, people are going to realize, wait a minute, I don't need to go and spend $250,000. I can get an education online. Oh, my God, what am I doing? I mean, this is like a wake-up call, right? This is a major wake-up call.
Along with the wake-up call of what are we doing, having a communist nation control all of our antibiotics and everything else. So
amen.
This has opened up the door and the window completely for people to visibly, they can see, wait a minute, why have we been doing this? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But now it's going to turn for the better for this nation, for the students, for the parents, for our companies that are now going to be producing. And don't forget, I keep telling you about that message in Mr. Trump's speech when he talked about the Small Business Administration. Okay? Yes, we're going to absolutely fund so that these pharmaceutical companies, the companies, the people that make these medicines that were driven out of this country are coming back. We're going to make sure that they take care and produce the medications right here so that we will never be hostage to a communist nation ever again.
Amen. Listen, interesting, Annie, I interviewed a really brilliant man, Dan Perkins. He's a resident here in Sarasota, Florida. He's a political commentator. I love his work. He's been on field. He's amazing. He's amazing. Here's what he floated out to me yesterday when we did a live interview. Number one, he thinks in order to recapture the American manufacturing in all industries, which is a net result that we've exported our jobs and our ability to make things offshore to China mostly. He thinks, number one, we need to announce about $100 billion to expatriate all that medicine and pharmaceuticals and manufacturing of those products back here into the country. Number two, we need a cabinet-level task force to investigate every industry that the Chinese government has been controlling for the last so many decades. In other words, all the jobs and industries we exported to China, we need to have a task force to evaluate everything, and start figuring out how to bring that back, which will, again, develop more jobs here in this country, and it will help our national security because it'll put us in control of our own destiny. And lastly, this is important. With this coronavirus, people are saying, we're losing jobs, people can't do this and that and the other thing. Well, the best way to do it in a nonpartisan fashion is to measure the jobless claim, which we opened up the show with, right?
Yes.
Every Thursday at 8:30, that jobless claim report comes out. And we saw what happened yesterday after several months of the coronavirus. We're still seeing our jobless claims numbers go down. So there's your nonpartisan way to measure the effect of the coronavirus in the jobs market. Let's look at that report and let's stop burying it in the headlines. This is, obviously not what the mainstream media wants. Those 6 corporations and George Soros don't want that. They want to scare the heck out of us. So let's get a nonpartisan number. Boom, there you have it. So Dan Perkins, hats off to you, my friend. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I hope the president takes you up on it.
Kudos to him. He's done a tremendous job at exposing this, but not only that, bringing forth the truth. Truth matters. Truth still matters.
Really? It's been a while since I've heard that, Annie, especially on the mainstream.
It was extraordinary. I listened to and I did it as a watch party as well, by the way. I don't know if you realize that.
Wonderful.
Yes, it was just amazing to hear this and to know this. And this is the information that we, as citizen journalists, can bring forth. You are an amazing journalist, Ann, and my hat's always off to you. We've come a long way in doing what we do and what we have learned from a magnificent leader. His name is Donald J. Trump. His name is Donald J. Trump. And Donald J. Trump, along with Rush Limbaugh, and the combination of conservative talk and what Rush has he led the path for us, and we're going right there, and we're going to continue on with this and bring this information to help people connect the dots, because you will not get this from the mainstream media. The propaganda and the brainwashing that happens on the Communist News Network, CNN,
right,
is brainwashing so many people. But they're coming to light, and they're learning. And the way that they're learning is because we affect their grandchildren, their children, and like their eyes are being opened. Like, wait a minute, we didn't know that. Of course not, because they're being fed lies, propaganda against our own nation.
That's right.
This is wrong, and we are making it right.
That's exactly right.
So thank you, my dear friend, for all the hard work that you do, and many of us, because, the Conservative Watch Hour, we're on multiple stations, and I'm very proud to announce that there are several other stations that are calling me and saying, hey, you are right on key with what you're doing. can you be on our radio network? And yes, we're going to continue to send this good message out there. And it's going to be absolutely amazing when we see, because after this is all said and done, this coronavirus, which was man-made, which was, I believe, exactly what Rush Limbaugh said, perpetrated to take down the most incredible history of this nation.
It's not going to do it, though, Annie. It's not going to do it, despite whatever they say, including the stock market, which is being clearly heavily manipulated by big short sellers. I mean, the market makers out there know what they're doing. George Soros and big hedge funds know what they're doing when they can make these markets and buy puts and make money on the way down in a big way. They know how to capitalize on, never letting a crisis go to waste. But that's okay, because you know what, this is, in my humble opinion, a short-term painful blip that if you are in it for the long term, hold on. Don't try and day trade your way out of this, especially if you're not an experienced investor. Because as we talked about, cures for this virus are on the way. Treatments for it to get people feeling better sooner than later are on the way. And I believe once those triggers happen, and I also believe that there's significant pain coming for a lot of these people who have tortured the country with the lies and the theft of American taxpayer money all over the world. I believe when we start to see that, the stock market is going to take off, just like the day it took off on November 9th after the president won the election, and we never looked back.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that 100%, my dear friend. And not only that, we're going to see, you talk about an economy that's going to be on steroids. Absolutely. When we bring back and we continue, as the president said, in funding the small businesses and getting them up and running and getting all these wonderful scientists and these doctors that are just sitting waiting. Because don't forget, there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands, quite frankly, of doctors that left the field under the Obama administration because they couldn't sustain it anymore.
Right.
They're going to come back. They're just waiting. And it's going to be absolutely beautiful for this nation. We thank this president each and every day. We pray for him each and every day for protection over him, his family, his administration, every single one of us at Trump Team 2020 Florida, everyone that's working for this president and this nation to save this nation, which is God's will.
Amen. Amen.
Yes,
so, Annie, we have any good stuff coming up this weekend?
Well, the one thing that I will say, we have followed suit with our large, with many, many chapters and counties for Trump Team 2020 Florida, with hundreds and hundreds of people that we have postponed for now, and we will resume those events. But we have plenty of our folks all across the state out there waving that sign, and we do have the presidential election on the 17th, which is Tuesday. Now, we will be live on radio doing the election, and you and I, and certainly that is going to be fantastic. But we have, prior to that, I don't know, I think I have about 7 or 8 different counties already. They will be out there, these folks. So if you're in your car anywhere in the state of Florida, and you see a group of people out there on the corner, and on Monday, and they're waving their sign, and we've got the Trump flag and an American flag up there. Did you notice how not one of these debates have an American flag on stage?
I know. It's really it's not even really, it's sad.
It's sick.
It's sad. It's just sad. It goes to prove the point. They're not in it for America. They're in it for themselves. God forbid an American flag distracts from the visual of their mutton face. It's just sick. You're absolutely right.
So I got to wrap this show up, Ann. But like I said, folks, if you see some people out there waving a sign and you have a little time, pull on over, get out there and wave a flag and a sign with it well.
And if you can't, honk real loud and wave real hard.
Indeed. Again, this is the Conservative Watch Hour coming to you. We look forward to seeing you next Friday. Stay tuned for us. We'll continue to bring you the most updated, beautiful news that we have from your state, local, and national level. Blessings to you all on this Friday 13th. Have a beautiful weekend. We're signing out, Ann.
All right, WOCA, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
Go Trump.
Sunny and warm today, high 83 to 87. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 60. Tomorrow, Sunday and Monday, warm with more sunshine than clouds. High tomorrow, 85 to 88. High Sunday, 84 to 89. High Monday, 84 to 87. Tuesday, partly sunny and remaining warm. High 85 to 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Brian.
No garden show this weekend? Not to worry. There's a garden show every day at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala, including this Sunday from 10 to 2. A super selection of citrus with trees starting as low as $59.99, and you get a free bag of fertilizer. Mix or match geraniums, regularly $2.99. You get 10 for $19.99. Many hanging baskets, you buy one, you get one at half price. And BOGOs wherever you look. So don't hunker down. Come on down to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala during the height of the Camellia Show Spectacular. Open every day till 4:30 and this Sunday from 10 to 2. Bob Wine's on Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. President Trump plans a news conference about the coronavirus outbreak at 3 p.m. Eastern after a meeting with lab company executives. The administration's been criticized for not having had more testing in place.
Dr. Anthony Fauci told Fox and Friends too much emphasis is being put on testing, while conceding it would be better if kits were more widely available.
But that should not prevent us from doing the things that would prevent you from getting infected.
Dr. Fauci stressed the need for social distancing to help stem the spread of the virus, including telework and avoiding large crowds and unnecessary travel.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland in Washington at the Capitol. Fox is told that an agreement is close on a coronavirus response bill, but we're hearing there are concerns from a lot of the Republicans about the size and scope of that bill. On Wall Street, stocks are up some after yesterday's biggest percentage Dow drop since 1987. America's listening to Fox News.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but you thought it'd be too hard or take too much time? Then go to Babbel.com, download the app, and try it for free. In just 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. And right now, you can try Babbel for free. Babbel starts out teaching you words and phrases by matching them with pictures. You won't believe how easy the interactive program is. Soon the sentences get a little bigger, and before you know it, you're having simulated conversations voiced by native speakers. And because Babbel is crafted by language experts and uses the spaced repetition method, in just 10 to 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking the language of your choice with real confidence. With Babbel, you can speak a language. Just go to Babbel.com and start your first lesson in the language of your choice for free. Download the Babbel app or go to Babbel.com and try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
The largest aerospace expo in the South, Sun and Fun, returns to the skies of Lakeland March 31st through April 5th. It's not just an air show, it's everything aviation in 2020. Walk among hundreds of aircraft and be amazed at air shows with breathtaking aerobatic displays by the world's top pilots. See mighty warbirds in flight, from vintage bombers to modern fighter jets, and feel the heat of a 1,000-foot wall of fire. Plus, new for 2020, our STEM-tastic pavilion with dozens of interactive activities for all ages. Oh, and let's not forget the Precision flying of the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Take advantage of the Florida Resident Weekend Special, Saturday, April 4th and Sunday, April 5th, and get 3 shows for the price of 1. Come Saturday, stay for the night air show with its amazing Star Dance Spectacular Drone Light Show, aerobatic flyers, plus a fireworks display. Then return Sunday for an additional show for free. Children under 10 are free, so make plans to bring the whole family and experience the past, present, and future of aviation at the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo. Visit us at flysnf.org.
Buying and selling? Then you know about OcalaForSale.com, Marion County's internet marketplace. But there's something you might not know. I'm Michael Warren, president of USA for Sale. We created Ocala for Sale in 1998 with a passion to connect buyers and sellers and to help local businesses reach shoppers online. On Ocala for Sale, you're just a click away from thousands of deals for real estate, rentals, cars, furniture, appliances, horses, pets, and more. Looking for a job? Our Help Wanted section is booming. Shopping the villages and beyond? Now you'll find great deals on villages for sale, as well as our new statewide classified, Florida for Sale. Log on today and post your free classified. You'll reach thousands of shoppers who check our listings every day. Are you a business looking to get a corner on the internet marketplace? USA for Sale can help you reach your target audience in Ocala, the villages, and statewide. There's no better place to reach shoppers than right where they shop. Let us show you how. Learn more by calling 352-629-1663 or visit us online at usaforsale.com.
Jean Powell, Pasture Mowing. Jean and Debbie thank you for another successful year and to wish you peace, love, and joy in 2020. Now is the perfect time to fence row spray for weed control, rototilling for your winter gardens, and stump grinding. We are family owned and operated, licensed and insured, and farm ready. Powell Jean, Gene at yahoo.com. 352-629-2440. Jean Powell, Pasture Mowing. 352-629-2440. Jean is a proud United States veteran.
We are proud to announce the Conservative Watch Hour on WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM every Friday at 11 a.m. Hosted by Annie Marie Delgado, president of Trump Team 2020 Florida, and her co-host Ann Vandersteel with SteelTruth.com. We are serving a higher level of excellence, and we are the only program of this type in this market. Don't miss your weekly dose of conservative talk radio. WOCA 11 a.m. Fridays, 96.3 and 1370 a.m.
The NFL alumni is sponsoring a Clay for Kids sporting event to benefit Champions for Champions. The event will take place at the Robinson Ranch in Inglis, Florida on Saturday, March 21st. Call 866-996-2182 for details. The NFL alumni will provide gift bags, breakfast, lunch, and prizes. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Clay for Kids. Call 866-996-2182 for details. Hosted by the NFL alumni.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
WOCA.
Hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to it. It's Friday. I feel as though I don't understand America anymore. Ever feel that way? Right? It's not just me, right? But I want to listen because I don't know why people are feeling this way, and I'll explain here in a second. It's about the coronavirus. I don't know why people are going out and buying all the toilet paper. Stop buying the toilet paper. On the other hand, I also don't understand these people are like, I'm going out right now to a cough-a-thon, where we're all getting together, we're coughing in each other's face. It's nothing.
Why would you do that at any time, let alone in the middle of a pandemic?
Because it's a conspiracy. Oh, can we stop? I want to understand from reasonable people, if you feel like this is just all garbage and you're reasonable. Not somebody who's like, I'm going to the cough-a-thon too. No, I don't want to talk to you. Reasonable people, I really want to understand what I'm missing here. And I'll explain and get your phone calls, 888-727-BECK. Stephen Crowder, Bill O'Reilly, and Stephen Moore, all on today's program. We begin in 1 minute.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
As we all prepare for self-quarantine, I think it's important to look back at some classic films. Like with this one. Remember, all Robin Williams wanted was to get his kids back in his life.
Right.
But the court has decided, look, that wasn't going to happen. So he came up with a genius ploy. He came to his ex-wife's house dressed as the new nanny, and it would have worked, except he had just started using Roman to tackle ED, and the first time he saw his ex-wife, played by Sally Fields back in the day, when she looked pretty darn good, they looked at each other, and then the game was up. He got arrested, and the movie was over in 15 minutes. It's sort of an alternate history, if you look back at that. With Roman, you can get free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. The doctor will work with you to find the best treatment plan, and if medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping.